Hey, greetings friends, Jacque Howard here, and I'm coming to you today from the home office and the home studio of Amans Brindled here in Trenton, New Jersey in the Franklin Park section. If you come through this neighborhood on Franklin Street just off of Liberty, we have a corner property. There's a bunch of art outside. I'm usually outside. I'm working in our garden, growing fruits and vegetables to give out to our neighbors, but also to offset the costs of food and so forth. And I'll be talking to you more about health and nutrition at a later time on a different segment. But before we get started, I am Jacque Howard, and what you're listening to and watching is some form of Trenton 365. Trenton is the city of which I was born. I was raised in Ewing Township, and now I live back here in Trenton, New Jersey with my wife and son. And the whole impetus behind Trenton 365 is to build a better community using civic engagement. Now, some folks have questions as to what civic engagement means, but long and short of it, being civically involved is a responsibility that every citizen has. Meaning, if you live in a community, if you live in a network, if you live in a place, you have a responsibility to follow the rules, to be a good neighbor, to be a good resident, to be a good tenant, etc. Through my years of doing art and fashion and then getting involved in finance and entrepreneurship and the faith community and cannabis and many of these different things, it's come to me that we have a lack of communication that takes place between not only folks in houses and human beings in general, but if there's some sort of a barrier, whether it's a language, an identity, a neighborhood, of whatever things we have in our heads, we oftentimes don't take those steps to be friendly. And therefore, we oftentimes don't find friendliness in return. To me, I think that has built up over the years and over the generations to the point now where, we have so many people who are living in circumstances because of a lack of information and a knowledge and a lack of working together to fix those things and those issues. Well, because of my experience, I've been able to spend time with lots of different segments of the population, whether the policymakers and community leaders to students and residents and different socioeconomic as well as ages. And again, I go back to the idea of us being civically engaged and us communicating and having fair conversations around the table where everyone's opinions and thoughts and concerns and matters are accepted the same. Upon doing that, I found out it's quite difficult. There's a lot of human beings who don't like to play together. There's a lot of human beings who don't play nice together. There's a lot of human beings who don't even know how to play. And there are a lot of human beings who have the tools and things to play, but they don't want to share. Or they think that the things that have been bestowed upon them are just for them, or for only the people that they identify with. Of course, until something tragic happens, or when someone all of a sudden realizes, oh, I need help, I can't do this on my own. I kind of liken it to when people reach out to people of faith when they're going through a difficult time, and how it's, emotional, it's life-changing and all those different things. But soon that wears off and they get back into what it was they were doing. And I'm going to say I've definitely done it, and I probably still do it to some extent now, but that's something that we all as human beings go through and do. So if it is, then why should I be arrogant about what I'm not doing as opposed to pointing to someone else about what they're doing? That's not how we're going to get better. And that's all I'm about, is trying to get better. So if you are interested in getting better as a community, if there's something in my networks that I can assist you with, that we can partner with, we could design a business idea or concept together for a little bit of time or for a long duration of time, whatever it is, let's talk. I'm pretty easy to find. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter /X, YouTube, and now TikTok. Big shout out to the folks who've been encouraging me to do TikTok, to get on TikTok. So I won't be doing any of the dances or any of those rage things. I'm just going to be using it as an extension of what I've already been doing, promoting civic engagement as a way to build a better community for everyone. business is always coming through, just like that right there. Shout out to Jamaican Dave. I'll be in touch with you shortly after this. But that's poignant that he is actually calling in right now, because this segment is going to be about Trenton 365 Performing Arts. Trenton 365 Performing Arts was something that I designed with the intent of showcasing the artists, artisans, sharing their stories, and using that as a platform to get more people to engage with those artists, to develop local economy, all those different things. But digging deeper, because Trenton, where I live and where I was born, it's a post-industrial city. So like many post-industrial cities, it's going through different changes. So different economies, after we've gone from the manufacturing age the steel manufacturing and the pottery, and as we've changed over the years, we are in a space now where there's a lot of industrial spaces, and a lot of times these spaces are great for artists. The economy in places like Trenton is usually less than the surrounding areas, and therefore it's more affordable for those who are doing more craft or more creative types of work to fit in, to find a niche. Places like this, Trenton and other post-industrial cities, are also places where social services are hyper-focused. So that means money. Poor people, poor communities, people want to fund that. So from education to arts to social services like health and well-being, all those different things are available to people who live in communities like Trenton. Just because that's where the nonprofits exist, that's where a lot of the poverty is concentrated, etc. But it's also a space where artists can come in, and if they're not coming in, if they're already here, they can take advantage of this. Sometimes it provides an opportunity, say for the filmmakers, to not necessarily have to go out and expend extensive amounts of money to get permits for videos or for movie shoots or things of that nature. It's also, as I'm a sourcer, so I connect artisans and filmmakers and so forth with locations and with things of that nature. So it allows me to also work in a different context, because some of the built outness of the marketplace isn't here yet. So if someone calls on me and says, "Hey, Jacque, I'd like to shoot a scene, and I've got a budget, but it's not a New York or a Philly budget. Can you connect me with a restaurant, or with a school, or with a church, or with a business or a location, so that this film can be done, and then hopefully it transcends into something else in the whole film industry, with how things go with money and how that all works out." I don't know a lot about it, but I'm often contacted to secure locations, to help network some different things. But as far as how that process goes, like, okay, they shoot a movie, it goes on a shelf, it may not come out, or it does come out. I don't know anything about that. But I can definitely connect you with some filmmaker friends of mine who can tell you a lot about the business and actually share with you an opportunity to get involved in that side of the behind the scenes in filmmaking and art, if you'd like to do that. So going back to the idea of art being a backbone, so to speak, of communities, providing artisans and people to be DIY, do-it-yourself, of that mindset, I think is critical, because it expands minds, it develops communities, it also creates this space where creativity is welcomed. Now, when that happens, oftentimes those folks get pushed out, and it's called, some people call it gentrification, but sometimes those folks are pushed out, so they can't afford to be there anymore, and they have to go someplace else. That's not what we're trying to do here in Trenton, and I'm often asked to participate in groups and so forth, and to share my opinions and thoughts, and that's one of the things that I often put forward, is that we need to establish a marketplace, and a marketplace where artisans can get what they need to develop what they need and to sell what they need, so they can continue to do what they do. It's nice to have events that are pop-up art events, but if there's no red dots and there's not stickers and there's not a commerce being generated, in my mind, I'm concerned. Like, is this just nice? Is it just a party? I'm thinking about, how do we find a space for everyone who's doing what it is they're doing and they're comfortable with and they want to do more of. How do we encourage that? Because they're going to be happier people, in my opinion. And happier people will hopefully make happier residents and happier neighbors and all those other things, so we can build a better community for everyone. Wink, wink. All right, so looking at my clock here, but I want to keep moving. So Trenton 365 Performing Arts is a hyper-focus on art of various sorts that I have personally been in contact with, whether it's an artist I've met in person, I've seen perform, I've interviewed them, we in our collection own some of their works, or I've personally had an opportunity to connect with them in some sort of a way. So the Trenton 365 Performing Arts page on Facebook and also on Instagram, it's literally artists and everything connected to those artisans that I have actually met. So there's a direct connection with all of those folks. So keep that in mind when you start scrolling through there and you look at the diversity. You look at the level of talent. You see how it's all different genres, it's all different backgrounds, and literally that is who we are as humans. And I believe that art is an international language, and we have the ability to transcend those typical boundaries that we have when we just let the art be what it is. So with that being said, this past week, Valentine's week, for those of you who celebrate, I was fortunate enough to spend a lot of time diving into performing arts. So I want to start by saying that we have a lot of talent of various sorts, and these individuals, you can see it in them when they're performing. And I can only imagine the energy that they're giving off when they see other human beings, when they're in that space, they're in that zone. That excites me and it brings me joy. And I hope that you all get a chance to experience what I'm talking about now. So this past Thursday, I was invited to a press opening at Passage Theater at the Mill Hill Playhouse in Trenton, New Jersey. Big shout out to the Passage Theater team. Big supporter of their organization and what they've been doing for decades with providing professional theatrical performances in a community space. And then to also push the boundaries with the subject matter, the themes, etc. that they present. So a big shout out to Passage Theater and the whole team that's over there. I would go crazy if I was going to mention names, but so much love for Passage Theater, and I encourage folks to make sure you check them out, passagetheater.org, and theaters spelled T-R-E at the end. So I was invited to see Ghetto Gods in Divineland. This was, I believe it was written or directed by Richard Branford. I met Richard through Passage Theater several years ago when he had done some performances there. But PRT, Poor Righteous Teachers, for those of you who are hip-hop fans and old school hip-hop at this point in life. Poor Righteous Teachers is from Trenton, and the name Ghetto Gods in Divineland, Divineland is what section of Trenton was known as. It's a very interesting dynamic of how the play was put together. I know it's running through, I believe, the 25th of February. I would encourage you to really check it out. And if you can't get there, I would say reach out to Passage Theater and ask them, is there an opportunity for there to be a reading, for there to be a sidebar performance? Are they going to video and share it on video or sell it on video or something like that? It's a really powerful performance. And then to know that during this period of time when Poor Righteous Teachers, PRT, was doing what they were doing culturally with the music that they were producing, the art that they were producing, to know that we had mutual friends. We would come in contact. And it's nice to see that this is moving at this space, but it's also something that can, and I suppose, and would encourage for it to go further. Nationally, internationally, definitely East Coast, West Coast, for the folks, who are really hip hop heads. and to do it just after, so to speak, the 50th anniversary of the hip hop genre. It's pretty impactful. It also makes me think back to, how I'm growing in age. I remember early on how difficult it was to find rap, to listen to it without, family members or, just people in general calling it fad and it's not going to last and all these different things in a short amount of time, my lifetime, to see it to be probably the most impactful and most utilized art form musically in the world right now. And I say that because people have taken various forms of spoken word, put it over music and beats, which is basically what rap is. They can call it whatever it is now, but I don't know. Let's get some historians to come on Trenton 365 Performing Arts and talk about this so that we can educate the populace that a lot of what we're seeing that's rap or hip hop now, like, there has a history that is not what that is. And we would be making a big mistake if we didn't go back and start from the foundation of it and make sure that that is at the forefront. Not to dismiss any of the artists who are doing what they're doing now. I'm not talking about that. But at least in our lifetime, we know the importance of making sure of ownership, properly conveying the truth and stories and history. So I believe it behooves us to make sure that those of us who are in our 50s and 60s, and maybe a little older than that, who saw the birth of this genre, this music, that we constantly keep putting that out front, as opposed to what we're hearing on commercial radio now, and that being the focus of what the craft is. So again, shout out to Passage Theater, Ghetto Gods in Divineland, R.E.A.C.H teachers, blessings to you all. Keep up the good work with what you're doing, and just be encouraged, man. And while we're doing that, big shout out to WRTI in Philly, WPRB in Princeton, and WTSR as well in Trenton, at College of New Jersey, Trenton State. Those were at the forefront as I was coming up, who were, pushing these different things, and including like genres of jazz and stuff with it too. So blessings to those college radio stations that are out pushing, alternatives and not so much commercial music. All right, that was on Thursday. I mean, and that's just art related. I'm sure there was some other stuff that was going on and it's escaping my mind right now. But then on Friday, I had the pleasure of going to the Newtown Theater for the performance of Crucial Reggae. Crucial Reggae, they're a Philadelphia, Bucks County-based reggae band that I had a chance to meet. I mean, it was a long time ago. I'm gonna say it was definitely over 15 years ago, I would say. They were opening for the legendary Wailers here in Trenton. I believe it was a Thanksgiving night. They were performing at the Conduit, and I immediately connected, with the band. Had a wonderful time that night, and I stayed in contact with them, and then they went through some changes and we lost contact, and then I started doing more media stuff, and then I actually started doing, because this was before I was doing media, started doing radio and television, and it's like, I gotta find this band, all the bands that I used to like to when I was a kid, from Living Color and King's X and all of them. I gotta reach out to them and just see, hey, there's an opportunity for me to chat with you, just start following you, share your stuff on social media. And I reconnected with Crucial, and since then I've seen them perform on several occasions. I've been able to sit down with them on multiple occasions as well. I've got a chance to see them progress and grow as a band, and there's like children, who are in the midst of now, so there's like second generation stuff that's happening, and it's really exciting. So on Friday they performed at the Newtown Theater, and it was for the Bob Marley tribute event that took place. There's a bunch of stuff I put up on social media, but they do a wonderful job. But right now, this performance, they were seven-piece reggae band with horns, lots of percussion, keys, etc. And these guys come from lots of different backgrounds, from being educators and involved in real estate and lots of different things, but they've got a passion for reggae, and they've got a huge passion for Bob Marley and what he's meant to them. So it was nice to get a chance to hang out with them, interview them, and chat with them. That will be coming out soon, but you can catch them on social media. It's Crucial Reggae, and if you put in Crucial Reggae Philly or Crucial Philly, it'll pop up. And I'll be sharing that stuff when this video goes out as well. Finishing up on Saturday. Saturday, February 10th. I had a chance to spend time with a couple of filmmakers and an actor. Shout out to CK, Karen Kelly, Jeff Stewart, Jamal Green, and also Kathy Capria. And Osiris. Yeah, and Osiris as well. So we got a chance to go to the Ardmore Music Hall in Ardmore, Pennsylvania, on the main line, just off the main line, for a Bob Marley event that was headlined by Luciano. For those of you who are reggae enthusiasts, Luciano originally is from South Africa. I believe he's in Jamaica now. But he is an internationally known artist. On some of his social media, he is known as Luciano the Messenger. And a lot of his music is inspired and directly driven by spirituality and faith, and his faith as a Rastafari. Getting a chance to, big shout out to Jamaican Dave and the team over at Ardmore, Graham, etc. Folks have been fantastic over the years with providing me access and an opportunity to come in and to do the work that I do and to give them some shine. My relationship with Jamaican Dave, who is a legendary promoter from this area for reggae, soca, Caribbean music. He's based out of Philadelphia, and I met Dave probably well over 20 years ago when he had put together a show in Fairmount Park in Philadelphia, and I believe that's when I saw Third World. Yeah, I think it was Third World who was opening up. And we've been, in touch, same circles a bit for the last, so many years, but we've been reconnecting. And earlier this, I guess, before the holidays of November, December, I got a chance to spend some time with him, seeing a good friend, Larry White, perform at McGuinn's in Lawrence Township. There I also met C&B Reggae, Chris from C&B Reggae, and we got a chance to talk it up a little bit. Then I know I mentioned that I went down to Milk Boy and got a chance to see Sundub and Mighty Mystic, which was put on by Chris at C&B Reggae. Also, shout out to Wagwan Culture, who is also another reggae promoter, marketer that's doing things in the region. I'll be chatting with him soon. So Dave, was a connection, for me to meet up with Luciano, and thank you to Anthony, his manager, as well. And I got a chance to spend a couple of minutes with him, just talking to him about my experience with his music, how appreciative I am that he is here in this region, that he's performing, in that the spirit of his music, my hope is that it will go out much further. I also got a chance to talk to him and his manager that what I do is beyond just the music. It's also part of how do we develop and improve cities, communities through civic engagement with a focus on what art can do to that. If you take the 1,000 or 1,200 people or whatever was in there in the audience, if those folks had similarities that they could all build upon, what would that look like going forward? If they were networked together, they were communicated together, they stayed in contact together. And the conduit for that was Luciano and the music that he performs. My version of civic engagement. Jacque's R.E.A.C.H, recreation, environment, art, civics, and health. How under each one of those buckets can we connect, find some similarities, put some things together, try some different things, do what we can do to build a better community. And then we can really say, yeah, we're trying to take care of things for not only those of us who are here in this present, but also those who are gone before us, the seasoned or the seasoned population. And truly, for the youth, if it's really for the kids. So that's what I'm about. I'd love to connect with y'all. We have lots of different ways that we can do that. Don't let the 6 inches between your ears prevent you from reaching out and finding out what this dude, Jacque Howard, is really about. I have a limited amount of time, I know that. But until then, I'm just going to keep going and doing everything that I do. So I'd love to connect with you, yours, your small business, your nonprofit organization, your calls, whatever it is. Don't let the 6 inches between your ears dictate what you and I can do. Because remember, it's always about justice, peace, and humility. Take care.